Hello, Scorpio. How's everybody doing today? Really looking forward to checking in and looking at all the messages that are coming through. We'll be looking at the month of March here in just a couple moments here. If you're new to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and the way that I organize this is as follows. I like to start off with some channeled messages, and before I get started here, I meditate for a couple of hours, combining what I've seen in dreams and meditation so that I can bring through spirit messages to you. Then I move along to the cards, and in that portion, we'll take a look at whatever wants to come through or needs to come through. And I really allow that to kind of be organic. So it's not just focused on love, which is great because a lot of us are at different phases in our life and we want to look at things like career and spiritual growth. But I do take a look at love in the expanded forecast when we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. In the latter portion, I will go deeper into the soul areas. I call it the soul path. And we'll see if there's anything that needs to be unraveled or needs to be investigated a little bit. And then we will meditate together. So there's a lot that we'll uncover here. And the reading later will have chapters. So sometimes people talk about the length. It's really kind of designed so that you can watch it multiple times and you can watch any part that you would like. I'm going to put Apollo down so that we can focus and work together here. I'd like to welcome everybody. I saw that there was a lot of chatting in the room. As I was saying, I was writing all of these messages here, so I needed a little bit of time to get that done. So sorry if I didn't join in. Welcome to my moderators, Maria and Dakota. I appreciate you guys and all the help that you guys give me, so thank you. And let's get started here. One quick note before I do that. If you're brand new, I just want to talk about Super Chat. If you'd like to show support, this is a great way to do it. You can click on this little icon here, and there's stickers and ways to highlight your comments, and sometimes it's as little as 99 cents. And it helps me continue to keep all of my decks up to date. I'll be using one in my Catalyst, plus this deck is fairly new. I've had it for like the past 4 or 5 months. So it does help me with supplies and just little things like all these colored note cards that you see. So thank you guys for supporting me in those little practical matters. And now, let's begin. By the way, I don't answer Q&As here. I have fireside chats for that on Instagram, and if I occasionally have one here, I'll announce it ahead of time. This is a general reading. Okay, so this morning, as I was walking the dog and meditating, the spirit totem came to me in the form of a crow. And it's interesting because sometimes crows get a bad rap. They're not bad animals. I think that sometimes we just see them in movies and we think, oh my gosh, it's a bad omen. But I actually think they're really spiritual birds here. And maybe not the prettiest of all birds, but they definitely have some things that I think are important for you today, which is why they came through. The first thing that I think about is their voice, right? You hear them, they're loud. I also think of the connection to the other side. Traditionally, they are messengers from beyond. So to me, this is showing that communication, even in my dreams, I was also having a lot with the throat that was coming through. So I wasn't surprised that I was seeing, hearing, and feeling the energy of crows when I was meditating. So let's go into that. So your spirit totem today is the crow. And the first thing that it was relaying to me was to listen both to the external noise around you and also to the spirit communication within. And I should have said, listen more carefully to, or honor more all of these messages that are coming through. And understand that as these messages are coming through, sometimes if you ever in tarot pull the high priestess and she's reversed, what it means is you have these wonderful insights, but sometimes fear, uncertainty, or lack of confidence will lead you to second guess yourself. And the message here is that the first thought that you're receiving, oftentimes when you're meeting someone, thinking about doing something, or just kind of waking up in the morning and having that compass saying, today I need to focus on this. I want you to listen to those little thoughts, those little feelings. They're coming through and they can be subtle. And I've been talking about that recently. It's not always what you would see like on that Medium show that was on TV, where it comes as a flash. It can come more as a feeling, more as a thought. Maybe it sounds like you heard something, but you're not sure. Trust those things. So messages are incoming, but you have to believe that you, the channel, are open and receiving them correctly. As I said, they are also an omen for death, rebirth, but also creation. So I see them as representing a new cycle. They are messengers. They are moving things to and from the two different worlds. And so for you, if you're ready to let go of something, please do. I think that there's an opportunity for growth on the horizon, but it may entail a trade-off, letting something go in order to allow for that growth, for that expansion to happen. Going into the communication and the ability to, like, you can hear crows from a mile away sometimes. Word of mouth is going to be so vital for you this month. For some of you, that could be in job searching. It also is a warning and an encouragement that good deeds get noticed and not so good deeds get noticed. So really focus on ethics, and you can't rebuild that reputation if you lose it, right? So I definitely want you to pay attention to the power of your voice, the importance and visibility of your actions. People are noticing, and that recognition could go into a positive place, or it could be something that you have to deal with. So just assume, this is a good rule of thumb, everything is going to get back to the person that you're talking about, or is going to come back to you. I've been kind of highlighting that over the past few readings because it comes through in different ways. Today it's with the crow, but this is something where I think that your voice and your words are going to hold weight and power. It's more about the voice. The actions are also there too. The word of mouth is actually quite cool if you have something that you're starting, a new business, a new idea, or if you're trying to gather support for something. This means that the more you can kind of get the group talking about it, the more movement you're going to see on it. So definitely focus on grassroots efforts, I guess is another way to rephrase it. Crows are magical, and they remind you of your own ability to manifest through that sort of magical energy, specifically with thought energy, setting intention before you do something or before you call something in. So the messages you're sending out here are received, and the way that you speak, the way that you hold yourself, other forms of communication, they're also being received. So really understand that you are a bright and light channel this month, and kind of in the spotlight. I didn't talk about the sun, and maybe it will come through in the cards, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, is like sun or star energy, where your charisma and your ability to really just be yourself, which is what those two cards can represent, are going to be very important to overall success this month. They are a very strong animal, right? They're hunters. I remember there was an old apartment that I lived at probably like 15 years ago or 20 years ago. But I remember on the way to work one day, I could hear the crow above me, and I was just ignoring it, but it came and swooped down. I guess it had a little baby's nest up there, and there were a couple little tiny birds, and it was trying to protect its domain, and it saw me as a threat, but I was like, that is an aggressive bird. So assertiveness and confidence are important. They're going to help you with negotiations. Speak up. Don't be afraid to protect yourself or your own interests if there's something where somebody's not listening to you. So be assertive. You don't need to be as aggressive as that crow was with me. And I just learned the other days of that week to go a different route. I was like, I'm going to avoid that person. So I think that maybe we don't want to be like King or Queen of Swords reverse, because that would be sort of what I was talking about. It would be more like maybe the Page or the Ace of Swords reverse, just getting directly to the point and speaking up for yourself, but not to the point that people are afraid. So tempering it. I think it's good to be direct sometimes, and that's definitely what the crow was reminding me. I could hear its voice in my head. So face your fears. To me, the crow is a lot like the moon card. Instead of the scorpion, now we have the crow instead, which is kind of saying, hey, listen. It's calling your attention. So that's really what's going on here. Face your fears. You're an energy alchemist. You're capable of taking one thing and making it into something else. That's what alchemy is, transformation. You're a light worker if you choose to be. So find the balance in your life right now and change things if you don't like them. You always have the capacity to do so. It boils down to trusting yourself, choosing to do it, and then following through. The integrity and the ethics piece was something I wasn't expecting to get with the crow, but it was reminding me, hey, I've got a bad rap, and I'm just here to remind you of things, just like the moon card does. So that's really what this lovely bird had to share with us today. The throat chakra is going to come up here in just a moment here. So when I was halfway between like I wake up early in the morning. Sometimes I'll go back to sleep for a little bit and set an intention of receiving messages. One of the things that I received this morning was around the throat. And what I was seeing was some of you, it's almost as if the voice was lifted, kind of like, I had one moment in my life where I couldn't speak for a week. It was kind of like laryngitis or whatever. And it was because I needed to speak up. And when I took that action, it cleared. This was very similar to that. I felt like something needed to come out, but the voice wasn't working. It's almost like the Little Mermaid, where the sea witch took your voice. So I think in this, the important thing is finding a way to open the chakra. So first of all, some of you may need to just heal this space. You can do it through so many different methods: singing, speaking to a therapist, talking it out with a friend, writing is another form. Anything that you can do to communicate, breathing. I would say you could even work on other things like dance or art, etc. But it's better if it's somehow communication. Dance is an interpretation of things. So if that's something that can help you get it out, fine. Again, drawing it out might help. If you could just use your hands or use your body to try to move the energy around, that will help. I think that what this is really getting to is speaking for yourself and letting others do the same. And in the dream, what I was shown was truth serum. And I felt like I had awakened, but I couldn't remember what I said. But the guides were saying, it's okay, the truth has to come out. So that's exactly what I wrote. The truth has to come out. And it feels like you may have this sort of out-of-body experience where there's a conversation and it just, have you ever had, I mean, I'm sure you have. Sometimes you just don't edit. And that's what I do the entire time here. I have to kind of push myself in the background a little bit and just let the energy come through. But sometimes we don't intend to do that. We'll see someone and we say something because we know they need to hear it, but it comes out direct. So this month, I feel like the truth has to come out. You might want to think about it more, so you don't have the out-of-body experience of, oh my God, did I just say that? Instead, intend to say it and control the message a little bit more so that you can perhaps temper it so that it's received well and they understand that it's coming from love and positivity. Okay, so that was the message. There was a lot around the throat and it was very weird. I don't think I've ever received the symbol of truth serum before, and I've never received the message that the truth has to come out, but also that you have nothing to fear, because it feels like this was something that needed to be expressed, okay? The truth could be any number of things. It could be, I love you, let's get divorced. It could be, there's something wrong that you need to deal with and you're gonna be the messenger, just like the crow, bringing it forth, speaking up a little bit. May not be the popular thing to do, but like the crow is reminding me, I play an important role. It cleans things up. Crows and pigeons, you know, and the pigeons somehow got a nicer view because we call it a dove too, but it's really, they both clean things up. So when I see a pigeon or a dove or a crow or any kind of bird of prey, but particularly those, they are very crafty and organized, and they're also cleaner uppers. So I think this is an important time in your life to clean things up. And some of that is going to be involving speaking up, okay? All of this is positive, by the way, because it's just allowing you to open up and be yourself, get into the star energy. So I just want to emphasize that there's nothing here negative, and the crow keeps reminding me it's like not a bad omen. It's saying, pay attention mostly. Okay. One thing that I saw, and this seemed more environmental, less about you, more about someone that you love or things that were going on around you. I was noticing that you may be witness to something at work or in your family where people aren't being treated right. I was watching people that were working too hard. It was almost like they were giving them an extra push of adrenaline to make them do stuff. But I got the feeling that they'd already worked too many hours. They were exhausted. They were kind of chained to the job. It was kind of like the devil card energy. They had no choice but to do it. So if you have someone that is over you, that's trying to make you do an unreasonable amount of work in an unreasonable amount of time, or if you're in a relationship where the partner is somehow making you feel like it's all you, and you know that in fact they're part of the problem, you want to push back on the unrealistic goals, the unrealistic deadlines and expectations. So it's not just work, but I saw work metaphor, but the devil card could be relationships too. And it would just be conditional expectations, unrealistic expectations, and control issues, possessive energy, controlling energy. Push back on that. Advocate, by the way, for people in your life. If you feel like they're under this sort of situation, advocate for their protection, advocate for their their release from this sort of energy. And maybe for some of you, that will even inspire you to get involved, change policies, right? If it is in the workplace, or change policies if it is in, like, government. That's how we, like, civil rights type things. So if there's something that you see that you want to change in the world, whether it's in your family, in your place of work, or on a global scale, human rights, for instance, this is a good time to do all of that. Please, please, please try to avoid burning out, because what I was also seeing with being chained to something could just mean that there's an activity, thing in your life somehow that you've outgrown. You've outgrown it, but it gets a little bit difficult to step away from it because of a feeling of obligation. A lot of times we get very long in the tooth with a job that we have, or some sort of an experience in our life where it's just, it's like, I know I need to do better, but I can't get away from this. So the crow came through this month to wake you up and say, yes, you can. The truth serum to speak your mind, and then this to basically unshackle the chains, if you will. As a part of all of this, well, there was this interesting thing. I got like this feeling that someone would come knocking on your door. So let's frame it up in the positive first. I feel like there could be an opportunity that comes knocking. So expect that. Expect the unexpected this month. For some of you, it could be a good thing. Like if you've been trying to manifest something, then you're going to see it come to fruition. For some of you, there might be things that you're avoiding, and this is saying, hey, it's going to come to, like everyone's visibility this month. So just be ready for it, so that, if you have to figure out your taxes, if, you need to talk to your landlord, if there's something going on and you need to talk to a family member, get ahead of that energy so that you're controlling, again, the dialogue. I think it'll be better. Increase your grounding and protection during meditation this month. If you don't meditate, it's a good time to start. Meditation can take as little as like 3 to 5 minutes. You can do it before you go to bed. You can do it when you're brushing your teeth. You can do it in the shower. You can do it in public transit as long as you're not driving. So there's you can kind of, I used to be at work sometimes and just, you can meditate in your head while you're there. Nobody knows. It's your little secret. Meditate whenever you can. It will help you out. We'll work on this a little bit in our meditation today, because at the end I always include a little freebie meditation, because I think we need to do that. So we'll work on grounding and protection a bit. I'll probably call in. Maybe I'll do Gabriel today because we need to work with the throat. But I'll ask for some protection then too. Finally, breathe. This will also help with the throat. And don't worry. When the worry comes through, that's when you want to look at educating yourself, talking to someone, figuring out like, what's my worst fear? Well, let me prepare for it. And once that's done, then I don't need to worry about it anymore. Focus on what's possible and think, I'm ready. I'm ready for anything that comes my way. That readiness and preparedness will then start to attract opportunities rather than the fear attracting what you fear. So it's a change. I can't remember which sign this month I talked about reprogramming, but there's a little bit of that coming through for you. Okay. Thank you, by the way. I see a really lovely contribution there. I appreciate that. And let's get started now on the cards here. If you missed anything, or if you want to read these, I'm going to put them at the midpoint. So don't worry, I always do a review. And you should follow me on social media, because I post these on Instagram, Facebook, and on the community tab here in YouTube. So you don't have to try to speed read or take the notes. You can actually just go there. Usually within 12 to 24 hours. It depends how busy I am in a given day. But by tomorrow, they'll always be posted. So it's a good time to follow me on social media. Also, just a quick note that I will be doing a collective reading on February 28th. I believe it's a Sunday, but you can check out my website for more details. And let's get started. I'm going to remain quiet at this point. And I forgot to mention this. You can use this for sun, rising, and moon. You can watch on behalf of someone that you love. You can cross-watch. You can hang out every time I do a live, because there's probably something that's going to come through. It's specifically for Scorpio, but everybody's welcome. All right. Okay, thank you everybody for giving me a moment to shuffle the cards and get them laid out here. I'm using, like I said, a newer deck, so some of them are sticking together until they get used a little bit more. But beautiful, beautiful cards here. So this is your catalyst. And the way that the catalyst works is it helps us stay in the higher energy of the month, helps you avoid helps you avoid stagnation and move into that energy of change. And we definitely have a metamorphosis energy at the beginning here. So remember how in the channeled messages, I was talking about your capacity to be the alchemist to create the change. What we see in this beautiful card is that a lot of times seeing, I would even say believing is seeing. Let's shift it around. And if you can see that change happen, then you can be that change as well. That's part of being a mystic. It's understanding that a lot of times our eyes deceive us. In the book that I wrote, there's a line where one of the characters is telling him to look with your heart instead. And I believe that. I would say use your third eye, use your heart, use your higher self sometimes to look at a situation, not just these things, because just like I need some glasses to be able to read the cards, we don't always see clearly with our physical eyes. So this is using that third eye to transform and to see things from a different perspective. Definitely, as I said, with the crow, it's death and rebirth, it's change. And for me, the butterfly is a great symbol of that. It kind of looks like a monarch there. So this is your time to do that if you so choose. So just remember, you are magical, you are mystical, you are the mystic, in fact. And this card is reminding you to own that divine right to make things happen, okay? And then we have the offering card here, which for me, it can kind of hold a couple of different meanings. First of all, what are you putting into the equation when it comes to your dream, your hope, your sort of passion? What are you offering up? What's the intention with the offering? How frequently are you doing that? Are you remembering to say thank you and please? Are you remembering to use gratitude in your magical sort of energy of manifestation? Archangel Uriel came across to me once and said, remember to always say thank you. Say thank you more than you think you need to. It wasn't a chastising thing. It was actually an enlightening thing that Uriel was bringing forth. Uriel was reminding me to, by opening up my heart, it could work more with me. So I like Uriel a lot because it comes through kind of like as a nanny or will slap you on the hand and say, do this, don't do this, focus on this. And that was a really great message saying, hey, you could go further if you want to. So when I see the offering and I see the hand outstretched, like give me, the reminder here is also give and then receive. So when you're working with spirit, you have to give a little bit. Give some time, give some love, do some service. Sometimes expect nothing, see what happens with that. So, and then the other thing is you might be offered up something. I said a new opportunity could come knocking. I got the element of surprise. That was what woke me up at the end. I thought, I got to get to work. I got to write this stuff down because I felt an energy come into my house. I was like something knocking. And so it didn't feel bad. I just was surprised. So I think that for some of you, the preparation that we were talking about is important so that you can receive the offering, because a big part of luck is actually preparedness. Really what luck is the timing and the preparedness meeting. So when you're ready and then something comes, opportunity knocks, you're lucky because you did the preparation work. You're lucky because you believe in yourself. You're lucky because you called it in. You're really experiencing a synchronicity. So luck is a perception. Synchronicity is the truth of that. And the way you arrive at that synchronicity is the preparation, the understanding, the expectation, but not the demanding, and then the gratitude. All of that stuff together will magically pull it closer. Okay, cool. We have Page of Swords at the center, upright. You have a lot of reversals today, but this one's not. So this is telling me that you can do what you need to do without even having to come across as demanding. One of the, if you've ever noticed really good communicators, particularly persuasive ones, it's almost like they can sometimes allow you to own the idea, particularly if there's a big change that has to happen. So if you're in a family or a company, so maybe there's this patriarchal or matriarchal person in the family that makes the decisions, you need their approval. What you would want to do is talk to them a little bit and get them to own it, get them to eventually take that idea. And it doesn't matter, because this isn't about you getting credit for it. If something needs to happen and they're the person that can make it happen, they're the way to make it happen. So this is just a reminder that sometimes working directly with that source and getting them involved in it is going to be helpful. The other thing is to really listen here, because in this particular page, we see the little canary or little bird that he's carrying or she's carrying. And so part of this is being, like I said, listening to the room, listening to feedback, listening to your intuition. Listening is just as important as speaking. And that's why this page is actually upright. They are capable of both speaking and hearing, which any good page is. All right. Timing is everything. We have the hanged man, but it's actually in a crossing position, which means that it's neither about waiting or being impatient. It's just about timing. And so I would say one of the things for you is just don't rush things. The hanged man usually is indicating that everything is happening in precisely the time that it needs to happen. So trust in the divine timing, and look at it from a different angle, because when I look at the hanged man this way, there's actually a restful energy with it. So it's almost like you're laying on your side and going to sleep, right? So I would say for you this month, if you could find peace in the timing of things, or peace in the acceleration or delay of something, and just think, well, all right, let's do that now. Okay. Rather than resisting and going, whatever, just think, okay, let me do it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Look at it from a different angle, and I think you might be surprised that this is the right time, whatever that time would be. So it feels like many of you are working on release. We have in the deep past the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is always about moving on, or about sometimes separating from something. The reversal of this could mean that there's a little bit of resistance, or if you're trying to step away, like if you're trying to quit, divorce, move on, there was an initial setback where you couldn't do it as quickly as you would like to. No matter what with the Six of Swords, it is about movement, release, and going forward. So for me, when I'm looking at this, it just seems like something around the timing is off a little bit for you, but focus on where you're going, where you're headed, the greener pastures ahead of you, okay? And the work that you're doing now will be worth it. Page of Coins reverse, but the Page of Coins is a good card no matter what. Particularly, I really like pages because you can kind of do anything that you want with that energy. A reversal of any of the suit of pentacles for me, it's really telling you to put the focus inward. Some of you may actually be so focused on service and helping others that you almost need someone like me knocking on the third eye saying, this is the month where you've got to take care of yourself. Go to the doctor, register for classes if that's something that you want to do. Whatever you're trying to do for personal growth and satisfaction, this card is giving you a nudge, permission, whatever you need to do that, okay? It's good because basically Pentacles can show me an opportunity. And so when you invest in yourself, that often opens up a future opportunity as well. All right. It's in the recent past. Many of you are already dealing with this now. So the two things in the live that would make a lot of sense are the timing around moving on, and then the timing around making sure that you don't miss an opportunity for yourself, a deadline. And then because that's going to be what helps you get to the next level here. I really love the way that your crowning card is illustrated. It's upright, by the way, but we have the Nine of Swords. And she is as zen as I've ever seen in a Nine of Swords. It's actually the antithesis of a typical interpretation from Rider-Waite-Smith, which is, I am not going to experience the stress these folks are. I'm going to rise above that. And she's even taking the swords and almost lifting them up. So if you can, this is the alchemist energy that I was talking about. I think for many of you, if you can look beyond the stress of the moment, because guess what? A large part of 2020 and 2021, we can't even control everything that's going on this year. So you can either become beholden to the stress, anxiety, and uncontrollable elements in the world, or you can rise above and say, well, these are the things I can control. So I'm going to focus on those, because the other stuff, we got enough people mourning and tired and angry and sick over all of this. You have to kind of elevate your thoughts. And she is through meditation. Doesn't mean that everything magically goes away, but it does mean that she's focusing on, I want to create more of this. I want to release more of that. It's an empowerment card. So when you take control over your emotions and what you can move, then suddenly you feel a little bit better. A move that's kind of pending here. We have the World card. Love it. When the World is reversed, it's still not a bad card. I would say with the World, this usually can show a really big shift when it comes to living situation, career path, even just sort of like life purpose overall, your soul. We can look at that a little bit when we get into the soul path. But the World upside down can mean that you're trying to adjust to the changes. So sometimes they happen too fast, sometimes they happen too slow. This is about easing into it. And we see the dance in this card. It's not, I really like that this has a combination of divine masculine and feminine. Too often the World card is just a woman at the center. So this is showing the balance of the two. So whether you're single or married, that doesn't matter. This is showing that we all have that yin yang energy, the ability to kind of go through it. And it's a dance of creation. I think in another deck, I can't remember if it's Kali or one of the other sort of Hindi deities, but like death and rebirth, that sort of energy. It might be Shiva. So same sort of thing here. It's a dance of creation. It's a dance of release. And if you can kind of move into that, you're going to feel a lot better about it. So I feel like it's inevitable for you because it's in the near future. A big shift on the horizon. The timing's kind of up to you on some levels. And a choice of if you're willing to move with some of the uncertainty. Comfort and ambiguity is going to be ever so important for you this month. So at a certain point, if you can just think, what will be, and I'm going to just try to show up and be my best. You know, I think that's going to be really, really important. I hope you're taking some time to rest. The Four of Swords is simple, but notice how this this particular wolf or animal seems to be really having a hard time with that. So for some of you, I guess if you're rebellious about your sleep and wake schedule, I can understand that. Sometimes you don't want to go to sleep. Sometimes you feel, I think that we're finally working past that feeling of rest equals laziness. For me, if I don't get about 6 hours sleep, I can't do the live readings because I won't be rested. I got a little extra last night. I feel amazing. And I know I have to do it on the days of readings. I need at least 7 or 8 hours so that I can get healed and open and I can receive. And I have some interruptions sometimes because messages come through in the middle of the night. So I need a lot of sleep so I can do this. I usually have to sleep after this reading. So sometime today, I'll probably have to take a nap so that I can also recharge. It's a battery. When you are intuitive, and we all are, by the way, but when you use the intuition, you have to reset, and it costs energy to do what I'm doing, and it costs energy for anything. So I think for you, you need to rest. Get a little bit more rest and don't resist it. The other thing with the Four of Swords, these are like very sisterly energy in cards. The Six of Swords is moving on. It's more active. The Four of Swords is a passive release. So normally you would see someone laying down. It usually would see like a coffin or a sepulcher or some sort of a resting spirit. And the Six of Swords, you would normally see a ghost in this ship in Rider-Waite-Smith. So it's about release, but this one says, I'm moving on. I'm ready to do it. This one says, it's pretty much done. I'm sleeping on it. It's almost finished. So I feel like the act of mourning or release is getting easier for those of you that might have lost a loved one, a job, or had a disappointment in your life and it felt like you needed to mourn over it. Give yourself maybe 3 to 4 more weeks and then let it go. Because as we can see here, holding on to that pain only hurts you in the long run, and you can't beat yourself up over it. I do think that there is a mourning involved with the change here. So death is upright, the world is upside down. Some of you might just feel like your world's been turned around, or you're fearing the necessary change. Maybe, because of a change in budget, you either need to downsize or you have the ability to size up a little bit when it comes to living. But it's scary to leave that thing that you know. So it's not always a person that's represented by death. It can be a phase of our life, a piece of our personality, a dream. And sometimes it comes to fruition, but then there's the mourning like, okay, now what? I mean, I'm sure you felt this too, whether maybe those of you that were looking for the one and then you got married and then you thought, all right, now what's my next thing? You start a family, you have the baby, and you're like, okay, now what's the next thing? We always are going to have that. Sometimes it's like the anticlimax, right? Anticlimactic moment after you achieve the goal. You realize, you know what? Some of the fun was working up there in that moment that I heard, but then now I need to keep dreaming, keep moving, keep doing. So keep dreaming is what I would say with this card. And death is rebirth. It's transformation. This could just be like pulling the curtain back and there's a really nice surprise on the other side. So anyway, don't let the fear overtake your ability to move through the portal of opportunity and change. Change is going on around you. This card showed up in the environment. So you could be dealing with someone who's transitioning, moving to spirit. You could be, again, someone in your family could be moving up, moving on, moving out, whatever. Ease into the transition is what I would say with this card, okay? I feel like you already have a little bit of a heads up that it's happening. It's the other person that might be having a hard time too for some of you, because when we look at this card, this little girl knows what's happening, but he may not. So, so focus on maybe the other person just needs some reassurance. Work-life balance, balance overall, and I believe I wrote about finding that balance in the channeled messages. So the Two of Pentacles for me is rarely about finances. It's actually usually about making sure that everything is protected. And I'm just looking at this. There's like a little, it's half wolf, half baby. I'll have to read the cards on this. It's kind of cute. When I'm looking at that, I would also kind of look at the instinct that we all have too, right? So sometimes animal instincts I'm getting with a couple of these cards here. So if you have an instinct to do something and you're not balancing out and listening to that, again, I feel like listen to the instinct. When it does come to money, because it is our only resource card, Page of Pentacles, I'll take it back. It does feel like for the Page of Pentacles to work, to invest in yourself, you need to sacrifice something, or this was the trade-off that I saw. So there's a trade-off, and just balance it out and figure out how you're going to deal with that. Trade-offs are not the end of the world. You might just have to say, I will do this now and I will do that later. It's not always an all or nothing thing, or I can do this much of this and I need your help with the rest. So delegation could be a piece to making you basically successfully managing with limited resources. You can always make it work with the Two of Pentacles, just like the Six of Pentacles. It's just a lot more has to kind of be sacrificed for the two. That's where you really do need to say, can I count on you for this? Or I need to do this right now. Maybe it's like even taking a sabbatical for some of you, deciding like I need to focus solely on this for now, and then I'll come back to that. I mentioned the moon. It came through. The crow was very much the moon card in a different symbol. So with the moon card, we often are afraid to look and see what our hopes are, what our fears are, what our dreams are, what lies beneath this water. So don't be afraid. Interestingly enough, we have a reflection of a reflection, because what is the moon but a reflection of the sunlight, right? It doesn't have its own light. So it comes through to show us, it symbolizes the inner reflection. And I would say this is saying, go a little deeper, go beyond what you initially think. There's more layers to that. And you may be surprised pleasantly by actually what is beneath the surface. So a couple layers here of depth that you need to go through. It's like Inception, a dream within a dream. You have to keep pushing through to get to the reality a little bit, okay? I do like that we have a bridge here. And first, I've got that old Simon and Garfunkel song, Bridge Over Troubled Water. So I feel like some of you can actually get to the other side and get past some of that pain or disappointment. And you could also perhaps be the bridge between a couple of people. So you might be playing the role of a mediator. It's you too. When I see the moon card, it's Scorpio. So I feel like this is actually a good card for you, representing, intuition, water, also kind of like the divine feminine to create. It's a very gentle card if you allow it to be. So be kind with yourself, be kind with others, and ease into that power. Let's go ahead and expand the forecast. Let me just take a quick drink of water beforehand. And we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny next. All right. All of these are reversed, so I'm just going to read them upright and talk about them. Because we have death, the moon, and the world, which are really, really major cards, I think that's why we're seeing some resistance in some of these. So, so the first thing that I see is the need to move on and the resistance against doing so. because the card itself says, let's literally, let's move. What are you waiting for? And in this particular deck, this can also, I think it might indicate control, which is why we're seeing this too. So I don't know who has the deciding factor in the move, but it might be about getting the other person to see it from your perspective. So if you're in a partnership, or if you're trying to, like I said, quit or do something, it feels like you have to get buy-in from the other party. So I'm getting another piece of that. The other thing is allowing your heart to move on, because we're looking at health. So we see two people, we see the energy of love and relationships kind of surrounding that. And I think one of the things is when we let go of somebody, we don't always really let go 100%. I had a client the other day that was reminded me of an E.E. Cummings poem, which is something like, I hold your heart in my heart, I think. Don't yell at me if I get the quote wrong. But that's sticking with me, especially as I hear this. Sometimes we keep a little piece of our ex, or a parent, or somebody that died. We keep them really too much in the heart, right? So this is about letting that go, allowing for a balance of the two energies, right? So honor your heart this month too. Heart health, when we move to the more practical, when I'm looking at that. So don't let other people put their kind of like garbage onto your energy so that you're holding it here. And there's a lot of like fear and sadness and processing. That's where I was talking about shielding yourself a little bit. We'll do that in the final meditation today. And just balancing out relationships overall, I think is going to be important. As I scan the other cards here, I would say always with the Nine of Swords, especially with this really strangely illustrated Four of Swords, I think it's important for you to focus on your sleep and wake schedule, the meditation that you're doing, hopefully before sleep or in the morning before you go to work, ever so important. Before I show up here, I meditate. All those are real candles. I light the candles and I pray a little bit before I begin so that I'm a clear channel, so that this is protected. And then after this is done, I'll burn some incense. I'll clear the space. You should be doing similar things. You don't have to go that ritual with it, but I think that you should start the morning and your expectation is today's going to be a great day. Not like, oh my God, it's Thursday. It should be, I'm going to make it a great day. Even if I don't want to go to work, this is going to be better than yesterday. At least start with that intention and then start to work your way up and think, I'm going to do amazing things today. Whatever those are, who knows? I'm expecting something good to happen. I can't wait to hear the good news. What good news? Who knows? But I'm ready for it. Like, start to put that kind of stuff out there rather than, uh-oh, what's around the corner? It's good to be prepared, but it's not good to be afraid. Okay. The other message here is to break stagnation. This death in the environment could mean that for some of you, you are working at a dead end sort of opportunity, or you are not doing enough to push yourself, or there could be someone around you that's not willing to change and you are ready to change and they're not allowing you to step into your light. Whatever the stagnation is in the energy around you, you've got to move through that. It doesn't necessarily mean you or someone else is dying. I see death also as stagnation or a chance to move on, okay? And then there's, in the future, the world saying, when you're ready, I'm ready. Are you ready? So be ready for that change and step into it. All right. So health this month is really mental more than anything. With the Moon card, I will say one last thing. It is sometimes about not being afraid to talk about things, whether it's your doctor, talking to your doctor about your health, or talking to your partner about the relationship. Trust issues come up with the Moon. We didn't get the Seven of Swords. The Moon can sometimes just be fear. So just talk about things that you're hoping or fearing. All right, let's move on to wealth. This is the High Priestess, and I do want to highlight that she's reversed. It says the altar priestess, preparation, prayer, sacred ritual. And I was actually going into the rituals. So it is time to do some sort of a meditation practice, but she's the High Priestess. And when the High Priestess is reversed in wealth, it's saying, I know what I need to do to have more resources, to be happier, to make this work. I'm going to do it. I have to do it. It can also be someone around you that is a little tricky, because the High Priestess can manipulate when she's reversed. So if you know someone in your life that is trying to manipulate a situation, this is where you become the crow and you speak up and you hold your ground, right? So that doesn't happen anymore. Let's look at some other wealth messages. Like I said, anything's possible, but you have to make some choices with the page reverse and the Two of Pentacles. So basically, this is just a chance to take one thing and put it somewhere else, or You can't juggle everything. You're going to have to focus on something with the resources. Ultimately, I'd love you to have more abundance in your life. And I think that's why the World card is coming in, encouraging you to move up, to move on. Okay, let's look at love and relationships. Rest and relaxation is essential. Thank you so much. It says we all have a fundamental need to take breaks. It's in relationships. The card was reversed, so it's saying for some of you, you need to, like, your partner needs to let you be a little bit, or you need to let them be a little bit. And if you're not in a relationship, people need to leave you alone for a little bit too. And I think that the most important thing is you'll be less cranky, more refreshed, and more capable once you get that rest. This reminds me of, like, when I was a little kid, I had this, I don't know, I got it in my head once with my parents. I said, I want to try to, like, skip a night of sleep and see what happens. And they just laughed at me because they knew that wasn't going to happen. I thought it would be fun. I thought magical things would happen in the middle of the night or whatever. I was just a little kid. I think I made it to like 10 o'clock or something. But later when I was an adult and had to pull an all-nighter for one of my jobs, I thought, this is terrible. Why did I want to skip a night of sleep? I literally, like, slept for 15 or 16 hours the next day when I finally could. And I thought, never again. Rest is so important. If you are cranky, if you are angry, if you are burning yourself out, if you are burned out in a relationship, you need some time off. The relationship can be love, or it can be friendship, or it can be anything. But I just feel like some of you need a little bit of hermit time. So this is basically the hermit. The hermit has a time and a place. So if too much of anything is too much, and I think what's happened under the pandemic is that we've been with the same people a lot, or we've been alone a lot. So you either rest less or without rest. And I feel like that's what needs to be balanced out. Okay. Let's take a look at the next card here. Okay, so destiny is something that you can change in my expanded forecast. It's your trajectory. It's not like carved in stone. And so this is a very, like, trippy 70s way to say it, but trip the light, fantastic, dance with the universe. And you actually got, like, the universe, the world here. So if you can imagine it being a playful dance of creation, we just got confirmation on that. And both the world and this trip the light fantastic card were reversed. I was actually in the 5th grade when one of my teachers said that. They said, ask your parents what that means. But anyway, it's have some fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. Let your hair down a little bit. This is really about not overthinking things. And sometimes things happen and you need to do it. All right. So I feel like if you can, again, just ease into that energy of change with this thought that today's going to be fantastic. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to let my sort of spirit fly a little bit. Yesterday, it was something like weird is the new normal, something like that about, not yesterday, but Monday, there was something about being weird and embracing it. This is the same sort of energy here. Like, just have more fun, relax a little bit. Okay. Let's review this quickly. And then we're going to move deeper into the soul path, where I can dig into the energy of change here with, like, 6 of Swords, world, death, 4 of Swords. That's like transformation, 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 transformation. So I definitely want to dig into that. And I want to look at some of the other stuff that came up. So we'll do that in just a second, but I'm going to review. So if you joined at the midpoint, you missed the channel messages. Perfect. You're going to see it. If not, don't worry. I oftentimes come up with some new things as I'm looking at this as well. So quick review, and then we'll go into the next part. Your spirit animal today, spirit totem, was the crow. It gets a bad rap. It was reminding me that it's here really more than anything to bring your attention to things. It could be pain in your body. It could be a thought in your head. It's saying, listen. Mostly it's saying, listen. Internal, external, not just spirit communication, but I'm also getting body at this point. So if there's aches and pains or something that you need to check out, listen to that. All these messages are coming through, and you have to trust yourself as a channel. We had the High Priestess here in a different sort of illustration, but still the High Priestess coming through reverse, which is saying, you need to do it, trust it. We have death here, death and rebirth. We have creation. We have a bunch of cards that are showing this, all 3 aspects of this. And these are also release cards as well. There's a big opportunity for growth. The trade-off is required. We got it with the two of coins and the page of coins. So in order to do something, you have to let something go or delegate. Accountability is so important this month. Ethics are so important. It's something that we don't study a lot anymore, but it's important to do the right thing for the right reason. Knowing that actually that could be a positive word of mouth in the future for you too, help you with job searching. You can't replace your reputation, so build a good one and do what you need to keep that and act ethically. People are noticing what you're doing. They're noticing what you're saying, and recognition will follow. So do good things so that positive things come your way. You are magical. You can manifest, and you are an alchemist. And all of these things came through in the cards, and they're also coming through in this message here. Be assertive, speak up, speak with confidence, and this is going to help you, especially if you're trying to interview or trying to negotiate a contract. That this is your time to be doing it. Face your fears. We got the moon card. You're an energy alchemist and a light worker. Find your balance. We got literally the two of coins balance is right under this, the moon card. So this is fear, balance your fears, make that change that you need to have happen. All right. I saw truth serum, so you need to speak up this month. The truth needs to get out there. The guides seem to indicate that you have nothing to hide. So if there's something that you have to say or that something needs to be heard, this is the time to do it. Throat chakra requires a little bit of healing, so we'll try to work on that later. Express yourself through singing, talking, speaking to a therapist, anything that you can. Breathing as well will also help. You just need to open up that part of your body. Also, speaking for yourself, not letting someone else put words in your mouth. You're not allowing them to be a ventriloquist for you, and you're not their ventriloquist either. So everybody speaks for themselves. If there's anything unrealistic going on, expectations, goals, deadlines, or some sort of a contract that's wrong, push back because it's going to really create burnout for you, for some of you. And you need to focus on your mind and your body and take care of yourself. If you have the capacity to do so and you want to help others, this is a great time to do it. You can be an advocate. You can get involved with human rights or civil rights or law or anything that you want to do with policy. Increase your grounding and protection in your meditations. You should be meditating. If you're not, that's the other piece of this. Opportunities knocking. Are you ready? Be prepared for the best, and also be prepared for the things that you've been avoiding so that you're not kind of like delayed there. Breathe and don't worry about it. You're ready for this. And the breathing is super important when it comes to transferring energy around and moving on. Love the butterfly. So beautiful. And it's basically reminding you of your mystical, magical energy and your capacity for change. There's also a piece to this about giving before asking, making sure that you're offering something back to the universe as well, that you're following your higher calling, that you use gratitude overall. This is going to help with the transformation. It's going to pull things in a little bit faster. All right, so the center, we have the Page of Swords. Speak up and listen. Part of it is going to be listening so that you can more accurately use your communication skills. The timing is going to be just right. Try to be relaxed with it. The Hanged Man is actually in reverse, which is a resting state. Six of Swords here, time to move on. It's reverse. So for some of you, there's a little just warning about general timing here. Everything's happening in the time that it needs to. We have two moving on cards here, Six of Swords and Four of Swords. I see an easing between the two. This is usually a more restful card. It feels like some of you might be holding on a little bit. So this is just saying, let it go. The sooner you let it go, the sooner the change happens. Invest in yourself, do the trade-off in order to make that happen. Rise above the stress and the drama. She is like, no more drama. She's not a drama queen. And that's basically what we see with the Nine of Swords. Focus on a proper sleep ritual. And if you are experiencing something like insomnia, maybe it is time to go to a sleep clinic or something and see what's going on. Maybe you have sleep apnea or whatever. Talk to a doctor about that. Make sure you're okay. Also, cut out caffeine. Watch what you're ingesting when it comes to media as well, like listening to something scary or upsetting before you go to bed, whether it's a horror show or the news. You don't want to be doing that. You should be trying to meditate, doing something clearer, cleaner, nicer. There's a change, definitely a big change on the horizon. Some of it's already happening around you. Some of it is requiring you to step into it. No matter what, it feels like it's an unavoidable change. So try to have fun with it. Trip the light fantastic, as we saw with this. See if you can make something good of it. Release, release, release. Expand and explore the intuitive and emotional side of yourself here with the Moon card. Be creative, have fun. Don't be afraid. Listen to your intuition is what we see with these two actually as well. All right, so with the move card, literally we've got a lot of moving. This is movement, this is movement, this is movement, that is movement. So it could be in love, it could be in career, it could be in house, it could be in your health. You could change something. If you had a scare, this could be a health scare, by the way. So maybe you had something where it could be an near-death experience. It could also just be a wake-up call where your doctor says, do this or else, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this finally. So the wake-up call is here. Move on and embrace the opportunities that are coming through because of that. And remember that the moon card can be great. Look beyond the illusion, beyond the fear, and something really cool could be beneath the surface. For wealth, High Priestess reverse. You have the capacity to change things and do it on your own if you want to. I forgot to mention, if you are an artist or if you have a business, this is a distribution card, the world. It's the best distribution card you could get. This is a distribution card. This is a dissemination card. This means going to global markets. This means wide distribution. And you may have a little bit of a lull right now with the Four of Swords, but what I see is that the past and the future look a lot better than the present. So keep focusing on long-term goals, and you might need to let go of a couple of things in order for this to happen. This is the balancing thing. So you might want to streamline, I guess is the best way. Do fewer things, but do them better. And that should hold you over, tide you over for a little bit. The other thing is, if you feel like you need to do something, do something. It's the High Priestess. She's telling you, you already know what to do. In love, it's time for privacy, for boundaries, for that hermit energy coming in, giving other people a rest around you, resting yourself, getting enough sleep, all of these things. It's actually about space when we're looking at relationships. This month, I didn't get a clear indication of new love coming in. I actually think that the main thing for you to focus on is releasing some old habits, releasing some people in your life that maybe weren't the right fit for you, giving people some privacy if you are in a relationship, focusing on personal development. There may be a water sign there, there may even be a Scorpio in the future, but I feel like for you right now, that's not what this is about. It's not about the other person. It's about healing. There really aren't other court cards here. We have a Page of Swords at the center, but I'm really reading that more as you. So this is a time for personal development. We have Trip the Light, fantastic. Again, I won't force a love reading to happen if it won't. For the love stuff this month, love yourself, give yourself this time and energy, give people space. That's the message for love. We have Trip the Light, fantastic here. Dance with the universe. Try to have some fun with the changes. Even if for those of you, I will temporarily say, if it is a divorce or moving on, there could be something really fun around the corner. Yes, there's mourning. Yes, there's a feeling of like, why did I have to go through all of this? But sometimes you go through it so that you have the context and the perspective in order to help you with new things that come your way. All right, let's have some fun now and take a look at the soul path. And I want to look at all of the movement cards. 6 of Swords, Death, 4 of Swords, Release, Movement, Transformation. I'm going to read the release portion first because those are release. 6, 4, Death. Okay, so those are all release. What are you needing to release right now? Then I'll look at the world. Because until you let go, I don't feel like the new thing will come in. Some of you, it's a fear of abundance. We have 4 of Pentacles, which is a very protective card. We can see, what kind of bird is that? It's a bird of prey. I can't think of it right now. But basically, it's protecting this and saying, you know what? It's a vulture. That's it. Thank you. My guides whispered to me. All right, it's a vulture. And so what you're afraid of sometimes is what's going to happen when I get out there? What's going to go on? I'm afraid that I won't have enough. I'm afraid that I won't be loved. I can't let go of this because if I let go of this, what's going to replace it? Whatever this would be, a relationship, a job, a habit. And what's really happening here is you're not allowing yourself to explore. You're not allowing yourself to heal. You're not allowing yourself to move on. So I would say, expect abundance. Release the pain or the fear or the attachment that you have to something so that you can allow this. I think some of us are just afraid of the space that happens after this, right? So it's kind of like, unless you have an empty part of your apartment, you won't be able to fit furniture in it. You need an empty room sometimes in your life so you can figure out how to fill it up again. So sit with the emptiness for a little bit. And that's what this card is saying. It doesn't mean it'll be empty forever. And just because it was in the past doesn't mean that it will be in the future. You could be trending up the ladder when it comes to pentacles. You could be already at the 6 or 7 of pentacles on growth and recovery. So let something go. It's just releasing. It really is. It is another card of release, but this one is saying the problem is you are afraid of what happens if you let it go. So don't be afraid. Let's look at the world. Let's look at the expansion and a little bit of the 6 of Swords energy with that too. Like the world, the 6 of Swords, the 10 of Wands, those can all be cards that are associated with outreach. So I'm really curious to see how you can do a better job getting into that energy of outreach. 6 of Cups, word of mouth. Friends, family, partnerships, and having some fun doing it, because there's such a playful energy with 6 of Cups. You invariably almost always see children on this one. And the Sun card also has a playful energy, as does the Fool. They're like some of the youngest energy in tarot. So with the 6 of Cups, playfully move forward and try to have fun. Whistle while you work, basically. Try not to feel like it's work. So if there's anybody in your life that kind of brings out this playful nature in you, wow, you should hang out with them right now, so that the two of you can move forward and get to the next phase. And if you haven't met them yet, call that energy in. Your partner or your coworker or your friend energy in your life needs to have more of that, more of the 6 of Cups, okay? There could be a return of someone from the past. Look at the top. I just saw the crow. Nobody, thank you. Jasmine mentioned it. The crow is there saying, hey, this is what it's about. This is really important because of your spirit totem today. So is there someone that you need to reach out to in the past? There could be an old friendship that you want to heal. This could also help you meet new people in the future. Sometimes we're asked to release something before the new one can come in, or it could be a chance to go deeper and rekindle. But yeah, I just noticed the crow too. So this is a big thing. Find that playful side. Listen to yourself when you meet someone. I've talked about this many times, but I don't know. I maybe have 4 or 5 really, really close friends that I've met over the years that I would call like multiple best friends. But I met them and I would know in an instant, we're going to be friends. This is going to be something special, because you can have a platonic relationship with someone, but you still feel that sort of butterfly energy. And it's like, I don't know why, but this is a cool person. And I've been waiting cool things are going to happen over the next couple of years because I met them. So I feel like you might be on the precipice of pulling in a new good friend. Maybe too early to call them a best friend, but someone that's pivotal that could open something up for you. So socialize. It's hard in the pandemic, but the other thing is what I've been doing with old friends is calling them, FaceTiming them, Zooming them. No one Skypes anymore, but basically all of those things, just kind of keeping in touch, because that will eventually be important for you to further the network. All right, let's pull a wild card for the future. We have the 8 of Wands here, and this is good. 8 of Wands is a fantastic card for being busy, staying busy, and also for some of you being able to rekindle, to light the flame, to get something going. The card is reversed, which is also saying for some of you there may be too much going on. So I've talked before about Wands. It's one of the few suits where you can release it and it becomes sometimes better. Because if you go downward in this, you could go to the 6 of Wands, which is success, the 4 of Wands, which is partnership, the 2 of Wands, which is manifestation, the Ace, which is an ideation. So there's never anything bad about letting some things go and focusing. I would actually say if you take on one more thing, then the only really bad Wands is the 9 of Wands, because sometimes it feels like you've been worse for the wear. That's the burnout. So you're on the precipice of the burnout, which is what I talked about. Let it go a little. 7 of Wands is delegation. 6 of Wands is success. Or jump all the way to the 10 of Wands and move on to the next best thing. It feels like right now you're doing enough or too much. Do a little less or go a level higher is what I'm seeing with this. You can almost always skip the 9 of Wands. I never really thought about it, but as I'm thinking about it now, that's what's coming through when it comes to moving up and moving on. Thank you so much. I see a lot of really great donations and contributions today. I appreciate everybody that's doing it. I just want to say there were 2 really high ones today. That makes all the difference in the world. So thank you. Okay. Let's move along here to the next phase. We're going to meditate in just a second, but I want to just remind you again, I have a collective reading on the 28th. Sometime before the end of the month, I'm going to do another fireside chat, probably on Instagram. So you should follow me there if you don't already. And to that end, let me just quickly throw up my social network links before we get into the meditation. On most of the social platforms, I'm just Nicholas Ashbaugh. Easy, right? So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Goodreads, all of those. It's just my name. And I put reminders on actually almost all of them. Goodreads is great if you want to find out a little bit more about my book. Patreon, I know that many of you already support me there. You can also join here. There are a couple ways that you can give back to the channel, kind of like set it and forget it. So one of them is Patreon. And then the other one is there's this little join button here on YouTube, and you can click that. If you want to do a one-time contribution, you can do that through PayPal or my website. And I just redesigned everything, so hopefully it loads faster than before. I hope you enjoy that. All right, let's go ahead now and meditate. I'm going to make a little room on the table. Stick around because I'm going to do one more card at the end, and I'll make the intention for that card to be for the week ahead. So whenever you watch this, it'll be to help you with the next week. So this meditation should take about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll get into that, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you, Maria and Dakota, for putting all the links up. I appreciate it. So as I'm looking at all of these things today, when I was praying this morning, I think that the one thing that I wanted to help you with was the throat, speaking your mind. And now as I've looked at the cards today, it also feels like letting go is a big thing because of all the transformation cards and the butterfly that we saw here in the catalyst. So thank you again for the contributions. I appreciate it. So we're going to work with all of those energies. I actually kind of I almost want to allow for a butterfly energy to kind of come through the throat. I don't know why, but that's what I'm seeing. So work with me on that. All right. So close your eyes, get comfortably seated if you're not already. And I want you to imagine that you're out a brilliant, bright day. A lot of times we do evening ones. We need to see the light of day for this one. And we have the moon and all of these other cards and these nighttime cards. So I want to bring in some light. Let's imagine that it isn't just dawn. It's actually like 10 o'clock in the morning. The sun has been out. The earth has been warmed. Let's imagine that it's a warm season for you. It's summertime. I know there's a lot of cold weather going on across much of North America, I'm sure in Europe as well. So let's just imagine that we have a nice warm summer day. And as you're sitting out in a grassy field, open, there's no trees around you. This is just about being outside. I want you to notice that this is like whatever kind of flowers you like, assuming that you have no allergies. Imagine that you're in a field of them. Maybe it's poppies, maybe it's jasmine, maybe it's lavender. I want you to see a healing plant energy around you, your favorite type of plant. Maybe imagine that you have a blanket out so that you can sit down and you're not kind of like inundated with all of this. But around you, the butterflies are drawn to the beautiful flowers. They're flying around. You see all different colors, maybe even moths as well. Just these beautiful insects flying around you. It's like you're in I don't know what it's called when like there's a special place where all the butterflies hang out, but this is kind of what it is. So as you sit down and start to breathe, you notice that some of them start to land on your body. If you have any illness in your body, allow or invite the butterfly to sit on that part of your body. So if you have pain in your shoulder, imagine that a few of them are sitting there and they're moving their wings and they're starting to move healing energy into that part of your body. If your heart feels heavy, imagine that a large butterfly sits on top of it and starts to move its wings. If your throat, if you're having a hard time speaking up, imagine that one lands right there and it starts to move its wings and open up the energy of each chakra. So if you'd like to, you can just imagine that you can reach out your arms and they can land on whatever part of your body that they want to, and they're going to do the work. They're going to heal. They're going to transform. By moving their wings and just gently sitting there, they're going to bring about the change that needs to happen. And if you'd like to, you can imagine that with enough of them there, you could even feel like they're going to lift you up, that you could fly because there's enough butterflies that they're going to lift you up. It's a meditation. Anything can happen. So just imagine that all the butterflies are going to lift you up and take you away from your worries for a second, at least your energetic self. You can imagine that your physical body's laying down on the ground, but the energetic one is being lifted up by these butterflies, and they're doing the work spiritually and then also physically. As I play the singing bowl, just receive. This is the offering that the universe wanted to give you, literally, with these 2 cards. So be willing to receive the healing and allow the butterflies to come in and to do whatever they need to do, and relax. Take a nice deep breath, stretch out a little bit, and imagine that maybe for this moment you could see the earth from a higher point of view, lifted up by the energy of all of these beautiful insects. I saw someone mention dragonflies too. Absolutely. They're all high frequency insects. So imagine now that you have the ability to see things from a higher point of view. It's almost like there's a roadmap in front of you. You know what you need to do next. Relax and just understand that you will get there. You'll get there in whatever timing you need to. And I want you to float back down towards your body with this lightness, with this levity, with this brightness that all of these beautiful butterflies brought into your mind and your body and your spirit. And as you come back into your body, you might even notice that as a gift, they left you 2 energetic wings behind you, not physical ones, but energetic ones, reminding you to reach out, to spread your wings, to fly, to do something that's amazing. And they can be whatever color, whatever size you would like, but know that you now have this extra level of protection with you that's going to keep you safe, that's going to keep you elevated, as we saw with that 9 of Swords card, going above and going in an elevated state when other people sometimes are unable or unwilling to look at it from a different point of view. And gently open your eyes if you haven't already. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to pull one more card for the week ahead and see what the messages are, what the opportunities are as well. So this will work for whenever you watch it. We have an Ace of Swords. Fantastic. Take some action. Speak up. By the way, this Ace of Swords is cutting straight through a bunch of old cords and connections. It's almost like a cobweb, right? It's going to go through there and say enough is enough. I feel like for many of you, because we're looking at this heart card, this is about moving on. And this is about maybe cutting that tethered energy that you experienced from the past. We always have the power to release. We can make a contract. We can break a contract. So this is about, what do you want to do next? Are you ready? Put it into action. Put it on paper. Sign a contract. It's time, but you might have to let go of one before you can do it. There's a constant thread today. Let go of one thing for another. Release something for growth. Start something new, but you have to, again, kind of cut the ties before you can make that happen. So really great messages. Really beautiful to read for you today, too. I never know what to expect when I read, but very, very nice energy coming through for you, Scorpio. A lot of change on the horizon. And I know that can sometimes be scary, but don't let it be, because I think change is growth. Change is opportunity. If you'd like to find out more about me, you can go to my website. It's nicholasashbaugh.com. I pinned a post from Dakota earlier, so you can check that out. I mentioned, I'm not going to go into too much depth there, but you know my social media handles, so I'd love for you to follow me. I will remind you on the day of readings. So it's a good way to kind of know if, I know YouTube isn't always good with its notification system. So if you follow me on one of those, you'll get story reminders especially. And I think that's helpful. I know I like those. If you happen to watch this on replay and you'd like to give back, you can actually use the applaud feature. And it also lets me know to post a comment saying that you sent an applause. So thank you so much for anybody that does that. A simple way to show some support that costs nothing, but really helps the channel a lot is to like it, subscribe and comment. And if you want to get an email or a device notification, click on the little bell icon. YouTube really does value that. So that's why you're going to hear till the end of time or until they change that. All of us will have to say that. Thanks to everybody today for the kind contributions. I saw a couple of really generous ones, and I just want to say thank you. It really makes a difference. Thank you to my continued channel members as well. You guys are amazing. And I have one other way that you can give, two other ways actually. One is through PayPal. And that's on my website, but I'll put the link out because I know that I don't always include that everywhere. So for those of you that prefer to just do a one-time contribution, you can do that here. And Maria kindly just put a link to my book, which is called The Luminous Ones, which you see behind me. I have a copy of it here in front of me as well. And if you like science fiction, fantasy books, this is in the realm of like Lord of the Rings and Dune. So a little bit of a longer read. I want to prepare people, and it's fiction. But if you like those kinds of books, check it out. It's a nice way to give and then receive something as well. So rather than just a contribution, you can have a book too. So to those of you that have already purchased it, thank you so much. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the nice reviews. I really do appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up today and working on yourselves and being amazing. And thanks also for, I see some late contributions coming in. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. It's Thursday today. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be reading for Sagittarius. And again, a reminder that I have a collective reading on the 28th. My schedule is pretty predictable. I'm live on Thursdays and Fridays and Sundays and Mondays, pretty predictably. The last week of the month, sometimes I will take off one of the Mondays or something, but for the rest of the month, it's pretty solid. So you can check out my website. I always post the whole schedule there, past, present, and future. And in the meantime, again, thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Thanks again, Dakota and Maria, for showing up. Have a great day, everyone, and a great month ahead. Okay? Bye-bye. Thank you.